All right. Yay, we're live now. Hello, everybody. We are live with Tanya today. Welcome, Tanya. And Tanya, she's really, really awesome, doing a lot of things for the girls, on how to raise girls. And Tanya is the founder of Girl Shape.
Thank you.
Welcome. Tanya is the founder of Girl Shape Flames and is committed to developing the most confident, courageous, and self-assured generation of girls the world has ever seen. So, for the introduction, let's pass on the mic over to Tanya to introduce herself and explain to us more what she does. Tanya.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me, and thank you for everything that you do. As you can imagine, not only the girls, the teenage and tween girls that I work with are very important to myself and Girl Shape Flames, but of equal importance are their parents who are raising them, and the impact that parents can have on a young girl's confidence is profound. So thank you very much for everything that you do as well. So I'm Tanya Meessmann. I am based in Brisbane, Australia, and I run Girl Shape Flames, which I started just over 3 years ago now. And the purpose behind Girl Shape Flames has always been about developing girls' confidence, really. So we focus mainly on high school girls, but as the years have gone on, we've moved a little bit into the tween space now. So girls that are about 10 years old and upwards. And excuse me, to be honest, I started Girl Shape Flames after and branding for 10 years with big brands like Nokia and Virgin and MasterCard and ones like that. And then I had a film career and I still dip in and out as a film producer for about 12 years. And it was after that when we relocated So when we relocated back to Queensland, I started working as head of brand and comms at a set of high schools. And it was when I was at those high schools that I started speaking a lot with parents. And I was already mentoring girls throughout all my careers, and I had a few mentees that I was working with consistently. And it was when I was speaking with these parents and starting to understand some of the I'll just see whether I can get that internet better. Okay.
I'm freezing a little.
Hopefully that'll help a little bit better. I've just switched over my connection, so it might be a bit more stable. So let's see how we go. I'm out on a bush business retreat at the moment, so you might be able to hear the kookaburras and the magpies at the end of the day.
Sounds relaxing though.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It just means that there's not great internet connection, unfortunately. But hopefully this will be a bit better. So that was... we basically got to the point of I developed Girl Shape Flames about 3.5 years ago. We started off as an events company, predominantly running events where teenage girls could connect with lots of different women from lots of different backgrounds through mentoring and workshops and Q&As. And then we went into schools, and now we run online programs for both parents and the girls themselves, as well as continuing to do work with schools and corporates and things like that. And we run a camp every year as well called Camp Courage, which is my favorite thing to do every year.
Oh, that sounds so fun.
Yeah.
I mean, and it helps the girls and the parent to connect as well. So for the parent part, is it always the moms with the girls or the dads with the girls?
Well, we have a mixture. So the events we run are predominantly just for the girls, but I do have a few situations where the parents get involved. And when they do, I would say it's probably an 80-20 split, 80% mums, 20% dads. But what's been interesting is we are running our Courageous Parenting program, which is the parenting program, which is just for parents. And we've had about 30% of the participants there are having their partners join in as well. So they join into our coaching calls so that we've both got mum and dad there to speak together. And it's been fantastic to see really engaged dads there wanting to learn and understand their daughters better and wanting to understand how they can adjust their own language or behaviors or approach so that they can build a better connection with their daughters and really help them. So I love that. I think that's fantastic. We've got so many great engaged dads.
Yes, it looks it. I don't know. I feel like it's very heartwarming when I see both parents are there.
Yeah.
And trying to learn more on how to improve the relationship and how to get better relationship with the child. So and nowadays a lot of people are in social media, and kids nowadays all have phones. Generally, most of them have phones, and they are all over social media. TikTok now is the in thing, and then it started with like Facebook, and then they say that Facebook is like for older generation, and then they went to Instagram and WeChat or Snapchat, and then now it's TikTok.
Yes.
So with so much influence, right, and all the things that coming to them with the use of just the phone, girls are learning faster. I mean, children are learning faster in general, and girls are learning faster as well. It like to compare themselves with all the nice things shown on the phone. So how do we manage this kind of mental and emotion, especially for young girls? And
absolutely.
not lead to the wrong way.
It's a complex issue. So I think it helps to try to break it down and approach it in pieces. And the very first and the very most fundamental piece is a parent's relationship with their daughter. If that relationship can be open in communication, trusted in both directions, so parents trusting their daughters and daughters trusting their parents, respectful, if the parents have worked really hard to instill good values, and we talk a lot about objective and pragmatic thought, so making sure that girls learn how to stay disconnected from something that's not emotionally connected to them, so they don't get sucked in too much. So parents can do a lot of work with their daughters around ensuring they understand about context, understand about the reality of things that are happening behind the scenes when it comes to social media. Parents can be so the first thing I'd say is definitely the relationship. So the relationship has to be fundamental. If you can build and hold on to that relationship, when it comes time to navigate social media and all the challenges that go with it, if that relationship and the foundations it is set upon are good and strong and healthy, then you'll be able to weather the social media storm a lot better together, and she will trust you and confide in you when she's facing challenges. But I think the second thing is to understand that, you know, teenagers are teenagers, and we were all teenagers once, and we were all affected by comparing ourselves to others, experiencing judgment, experiencing a sense of not being good enough or yearning for other people's things that they have. We all experience that. It's just we experienced it through monthly magazines like Cosmo and Dolly over here in Australia, at least, and watching Rage on the weekends with the music videos. Like, we still had it in our life. It's just we had it in a much smaller component. Now the girls have it, and it's everywhere, and it's constant, and it's 24 hours a day. So it makes it very inescapable. So I think it's about that second part is understanding that they are teenagers. It's very, very normal for them to participate in this kind of processing and mental and emotional processing of the information that they are given. I work a lot with a collaborator of mine, Dr. Diane Harner, who's a neuroscientist, and we talk a lot about how the brain develops in teenagers, and particularly in our parenting course, we really encourage adults and parents to understand that often teenagers, and especially the younger girls, they're not equipped, they don't have the emotional regulation to be able to sift through what's going on in front of them and determine what's healthy and what's not, and what's real and what's not. So it's taking with a grain of salt her development, just her developmental stage as a teenager, and therefore what she is and isn't capable of actually doing before we go too far down getting upset at them or getting frustrated with them. It's about understanding that. And then the third thing is really around exercising boundaries. And it's really, really hard. And it's one of the most consistent conversations we have with parents is like, how do I put boundaries in place with my daughter? How do I stick by them? I'm always the bad guy. I'm always the one who's like the buzzkill, or I just get tired and I just let her walk over me, or I let her have the thing. And we really, really strongly, Di and I, reinforce the importance of setting early on, as early as humanly possible, boundaries and expectations when it comes to technology. So deciding as a family, this is how many hours a day of screen time is acceptable. This is the kind of content that is acceptable in our family. This is the process that you go through if
Oops, I think we lost Tanya. Bear with it for a while.
there's no point. Oh, oh no. Hang on. Let me know when I'm back.
Yep, you're back now.
Oh, okay, where did you lose me from? I was on a roll.
Yeah, I was like listening, and then it's like just stop. I was like, it was at the emotional part where those exercising the boundaries where you were talking halfway there.
Okay, so setting boundaries is critical, and basically it needs to be done together as a family, and it needs to be communicated very clearly. So there's no point just deciding in your head more than 2 hours a day on the screen or on social media is too much, but then never telling your daughter that, because then she's always going to frustrate you, because she will she won't know that those are your expectations. So if you can sit down as a family and agree screen time, the platforms they're allowed on, the content that is appropriate, and it's important to not position it too much like rules, like this is what's allowed and this is what's not allowed. It's more like our family values this kind of information. We value inspiring information, educational information, fun and fascinating information. We don't value, gratuitous kind of showing off information or anything that puts people down. We don't value those things. So if you can really base it on a value system, our family values this, we do not value that, therefore this is okay and that's not okay. And stay firm and really make sure that they're involved in the conversation. The older they get, they should be allowed to come and negotiate with you on what they are and aren't allowed. Mm-hmm. And those negotiations should be able to be entered into, and if you're okay and comfortable with.
Oh no, we lost you again. We lost her.
And thirdly, look at putting, let me know when I'm sorry.
We lost you when you were mentioning about the getting comfortable.
Getting comfortable. I forget where I was up to.
And then we got lost from there.
This is like, we're going to have to put the pieces back together of this whole thing. I think I was just recapping the three main areas to navigate social media is making sure your relationship is strong and worked on from as early as possible. Make sure you understand that she is a teenager and how her brain development and emotional regulation, where that's actually at, before you start jumping down her too much about what she's doing. Mm-hmm. And then finally, have those boundaries that are agreed upon as a family, as far as like what controls there are in place for how much time she's allowed on and what content she watches.
Yes, that's really, really good. I mean, just that 3 points is enough for us to do.
Yeah.
It's not easy. It sounds easy every time when you listen to all those things. It sounds very easy. You read about it, it sounds easy. But when you want to take action, that's the difficult part.
Yes.
How much can I do? What's the limit?
That's the problem, because often what we can do is once we hit that point with daughters is you're tired and you're kind of over it and you're frustrated And to think that you have to do something over and over again is very exhausting. But we have to remember their developmental path is that even though they're growing up, they've got so much growing to do, and you have to be patient with them. And in our courageous parenting, we talk a lot about incremental growth. We want to see incremental progress, incremental, and it's about having that patience so that you can help her grow incrementally. You're never going to see something change in the straight on that point.
Yes, totally agree. And especially the family values part. I mean, setting boundaries, you don't know how much to set. Is this too little? Is this too much? Am I overdoing it? And then the family values is the one that add on, give you the guidance on how much boundaries to set.
Yeah.
And I do agree with that. And that's very, very important, especially for myself. I used to set a boundary for their screen time. And like what you mentioned, what is good? What is considered good? What is considered bad? They do not know and they do not understand. So I'm open for them to watch anything. But if you're not sure what this content is about, come to me. At least I know what they are watching. And I know that they are not sure whether this content is good for them or it's not.
Yep.
Yeah. So at least I know what they are watching, and they're open. I know that they're open to me and willing to share with me what they are watching as well.
Yes, exactly. And that's that trust and that bond that has to be worked on.
Yeah. And there was once where for young kids they like to use like Frozen kind of character, and then they were doing funny stuff. So my girl thought that this is just cartoon characters and they are doing innocent stuff. But actually they're doing some pretentious sexual act, which she doesn't know what is it. So she came to me and said, "Mommy, what are they doing?" I was like, "Whoa, what's that?" So I told her that, okay, this is not for young kids. But she mentioned that, but she's wearing Elsa dress. Why can't I watch it? So that's when I add a little bit of information to it, let her watch. Let her know like what's good and what's not. And she agrees that she slowly understands a little.
Oh, there we go, back again. Sorry, I lost you for a second there.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Oh yeah. I was saying that she's asking me why she's wearing Elsa dress, but she can't watch it. Since Elsa is for children.
Yeah.
So I just explained to her that this is you wearing children dress to mislead you to do something which is not for kids, it's for adults. Yeah, I have to really use like simple terms to explain to her, and she understands and she valued that information.
Yes. Yeah.
And instead of scolding her, why are you watching this? What, you shouldn't be watching this. Or when she watch, I have to sit beside her and keep watching over her shoulder. It's like she feels very, I don't know how do you call it? The kind of stress over her shoulder. Yeah. So I don't do that.
It comes down to trust. It comes down to her not feeling trusted and her feeling as though an action she takes might be naughty and she doesn't even realize, and she's going to get in trouble. That's what it feels like when mummy's looking over her shoulder. Is what I'm doing okay and allowed? And so that can feel very threatening for her to be experiencing that. But that's why it's so important to, exactly as you have already developed with your daughter, is that understanding of trust. So if you're worried about something, you just come to mummy, and I'm not going to get mad. I just want to talk to you about it and we can figure it out. And then once I've figured it out, that's the end of it, is that conversation. That's the end of it. And we move on to the next thing. So that's where the relationship is so, so critical.
Yeah, I myself was wondering, am I doing the right thing to let her watch everything on the social media? But after what you have mentioned, I feel like I'm doing it the right way, in a way that I gave her the space and she gave me the trust.
Yes.
And we have the respect for each other.
Yeah. And for parents, and because that's a fantastic position to be in, but there are a lot of parents who don't have that type of relationship with their daughters or sons. And then there are other parents we work with, and Di in particular, who I do the program with, she talks about in her house, they have a no devices in bedrooms rule. So all computers and phones and everything have to be used out in the communal family space. And that's where they do their homework and they do their normal work and they have their phone calls. That all takes place out in the communal space. And that's
We lost her right after the communal space. Let me text her. So sorry with the internet connections. The technical issue here is that we will get all those once in a while.
I think when I get on a roll, the internet can't keep up.
Yeah. But it's really a very valuable content from you, and all the information from you, where you share all this very simple stuff that we can follow, but a lot of things that we have overlooked, especially as a working parent. Even for stay-home mom, it kind of like all the housework and stuff, it overwhelm you and you forgot about the space that your child needs.
Yeah.
And you start stressing up. Am I doing right or am I doing wrong?
Yeah.
And then you start putting a lot of restriction.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, which is challenging on a lot of levels, and it's challenging to build what she needs. Something we talk about in the program a lot is the very first module is about understanding your own parenting style and where did it come from? Why do you parent the way that you parent? And how much of it has been inherited from how you were raised, and how much of it is actually relevant to the child you now have, because they're not going to be exactly the same as you were when you were growing up. And so we really dive, I mean, that's what's so important as a parent is the answers to your parenting are sitting right in front of you. They're a 10-year-old or a 15-year-old or whatever they are, little daughter in our case of Girl Shaped Flames, or a son for others, and they're sitting right in front of you with the answers. It's just about taking the time to understand who she is and what she needs from you and how much of that, and being really conscious of the fact that it's going to change. And sometimes on like a 3-month basis, it will change what she needs from you and how much she needs from you. And one of the biggest traps we see parents falling into is fear. Lots of different fears come into play, and they want to hold tighter and they want to control things more because they're scared of things changing and how fast they change.
Yep.
That causes a lot of damage, and it's about trying to grow and evolve with your daughter and what she needs from you. That has to shift and change as she gets older, and that's where we see a lot of the damage, or not damage, a lot of the damage to the relationships, but a lot of the challenges parents face really start to happen at that 13, 14-year-old age. And that's because they're moving out of needing their mummies and daddies to help them and to guide them and to, nurture them. They're moving into that more identity seeking phase where they like, see you later, mom, dad, I'm off. I'm going to go find the world for myself. And we see parents really get that grip in and really be like, no, you're not ready yet. You're so little. I can't let you go and do it by yourself yet. And it's hard. Like, it's a really, really hard period of time. But it's so important to learn in yourself how to do that, how to let her go incrementally more and more and more as she grows up and develops that independence, and sort of start to reduce how much co-regulation you do with her so that she can learn to be an independent young woman, and she'll have so much more confidence and resilience because of it if you can do that.
I agree. Yeah. Especially the part where you mentioned about the independent young woman. A lot of time we think that they are always our little girl. I mean, in our heart, they are always definitely our little girl.
Yeah.
But we also have to give her the privilege to grow and the privilege to be independent.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do agree with that. And as I do teach 17 to 18-year-old girls, and I always have them telling me that my mom doesn't allow me to do this. My mom doesn't allow me to do that. I feel I can't breathe. What can I do?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So that's when they start voicing out.
Yeah, and they do need boundaries. We talk a lot about the fact that they need boundaries because that does keep them safe to a degree, and it helps them learn about the importance of having boundaries and holding boundaries, which they need to have, especially when they're teenagers. But it's really, as they get older, it has to be about gauging, am I putting this boundary in place for her safety or for her development or because of our family values? Or am I putting it in place because I am feeling like she's still the 5-year-old little girl that I, used to cuddle to sleep at night and things like that? Like, am I putting the boundary in place for the right reason? Or is it historical, the reason I'm putting it in place? And it feels, and I'm a parent myself, it feels so scary sometimes to release a boundary that you've held in place for so long.
Yeah.
Because she's ready to take that step, and she's ready to learn what happens if she goes too far in that boundary, and she has to learn that. One of the most fascinating things we talk about, Di and I, from the neuroscience perspective, is that any neurological pathway needs to be formed. And those neurological pathways are formed through experiences, so through lived experiences. When we live an experience, the neurons fire around and they map it out and they go, oh, this is new. We need to create some new pathways. And then once the pathway is built, as long as it's repeatedly revisited, those neurological pathways stay in place. So what we try to explain to parents is resilience, confidence, determination, bouncing back from failures are all neurological pathways that need to be mapped. And she can't map those if she doesn't have those experiences. So by preventing her from ever feeling afraid or failing at something or having to weather an uncomfortable situation, if you protect her too much from those things, by having lots and lots of tight boundaries in place, you are actually preventing her from the opportunity to map her brain's pathways that will give her the knowledge and the skills to navigate it in the future. When she's not by your side and experiences a failure or experiences something hard in her life, she needs those skills and those pathways mapped so she can handle it and so she can move forward. And if the parents stand in the way of that happening too much, then you're actually doing her a disservice. And when she gets in, there's studies that show children who are not given the opportunity to have a wide variety of experiences and build those pathways, later in life find themselves not understanding themselves, seeking out, fulfillment and just basically feeling quite lost because they don't have those pathways in place. So it sounds big and dramatic, but it kind of is whenever we talk about brains.
I totally agree with that. And the experience is best to experience it when they are young.
Yes.
Instead of like having them experience it when they head out to work, which is a little late, and the impact is bigger.
Absolutely. Well, you need to when the brain elasticity is in place. So the plasticity, as Di talks about. So brains, when they're most at their plasticity is most in their teenage years. After they're 0 to 5, the teenage years are the next years where you've got that great plasticity, which means that the brain is ready and waiting to develop. Once they get past the age of about 18, that plasticity starts to reduce and it's harder to learn new things and map neurological pathways.
Yes, totally agree with that. So much golden nuggets from our chat here.
I was desperately hoping the internet wouldn't cut out when I was on that big long spiel because
I was like, please be stable, be stable. I cannot stop. I just want to listen.
Made it. That's good.
Yeah. And for those who are watching, if you have any questions, do pop in the comment below. I saw some people are watching, and I guess maybe they're engrossed with your speech as well. So if you're watching, if you have any comments, any questions, do type it in. If you have any questions for Tanya, type it in. And if you're watching the replay, type in your comments as well, your questions. Or if you're taking away a lot of things that from here, which is like me, I'm taking away a lot. Do comment below so that you can share with your friends. Yeah, share with everyone that you know, and not only for girls. I believe this is also for the sons as well. It's
Yeah.
really, really useful.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And the way we parent is how we got parented as well. It's either we want to follow or we want to change.
Yeah, it plays a large role, and you're absolutely right. We get people to identify, some parents come into parenting with a very intense need to parent differently to how they were raised. And they come in really like, I'm never going to do what my mother did, or I'm never going to be like my father. And then they become very conscious about it. Other people, like myself, I come into parenting going, I really valued how my mum brought us up. I was single family from when I was 12, and I really sort of respect how she went about it and her values that she brought us up with. So I found myself quite naturally mirroring my own parents' decisions and things like that. But it's just interesting to take a moment to really sit down and think about the specific parenting moments that you experience throughout the day, specific, like particularly times when you say no.
Oh no, we lost her when you say no. No, internet, no. Lost you. Tanya, come back. Okay, you're back.
Back.
When you're mentioning no, and then it all froze.
Oh, and it was so good too. No, so basically, I was just saying you'll find that the pushback that when you have a moment where you say no to something, or if you have an expectation of your child, it's really about taking a moment to consider, where does that come from? Why do I want to say no to that situation? Has that been motivated by my own beliefs and my own values, or has it been motivated by just habit, that's what my parents said no to me for, therefore I'm going to say no as well? Same with expectations. When you expect something from your child, where does that come from? Is that an expectation that you hold important to yourself and you value? Or is it an expectation that you were brought up with and therefore you're passing on through your parenting to your child? And that's not to say that either of those things are bad or wrong to bring it on from your own parents and how they raised you. Because as I said, I'm very much in line with how I was raised. But it's more about making sure that it's right for your child. And we talk a lot about meeting your daughter where she is and making sure that what you have done, the decision you are making in that moment is appropriate for her and her level of development, her maturity, her openness, her abilities, and what stage of confidence development she's at.
Yeah, totally agree with that. Especially when you mentioned about like, there's no right or wrong parenting. Every family has their own family values as well. But we have to be always aware and conscious about how they are developing. And we have to match our parenting style according to their development.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is so good. You should share more about like what you do and your company and where to find you, how to find you.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's pretty easy. I don't think there are any other Girl-Shaped Flames companies in the world. So if you just go to girlshapedflames.com, you can find pretty much everything that we do there. But I would say that for parents who are watching this, our Raising Girl-Shaped Flames Facebook group is where to come. So we have over 300 parents at the moment in the group that are all parents of girls of whatever age. And that group is really designed to support in a lot of the things we talked about today. So communication and building the relationship with your daughter, navigating, setting boundaries and all those social media things, developing your daughter's confidence and how do you help her get out of her comfort zone and be able to navigate all of that. So we go through a lot of that stuff, and we have resources and things over in that Facebook group. And then the other thing is to join our mailing list. So again, you can do that when you join the Facebook group. I ask you if you want to, so you can always join it that way, or you can find it on our website. And yeah, you can welcome to reach out. We're on all the other platforms like Instagram and Facebook and stuff, but I always say that the group is where to come if you're a parent, and our mailing list. And then our next Courageous Parenting program is going to kick off in February of next year. So it's an 8-week program, and it just happens every so often basically, but we're going to do it again in February. And that's a really robust program that Di and I both run. And it's for parents of girls under the age of 18 who want to try to help build their daughter's confidence while building their relationship with them. So yeah, that's the main stuff, I would say.
That's so nice. So that program will be online, or that's an online program?
Interactive program, yeah. So anyone around the world will be able to take the program, and it's delivered. We have 8 modules of video and worksheets and stuff like that you go through. But then we also have weekly coaching calls, group calls, and we have its own private Facebook group where we get right into sort of the nitty-gritty of what's going on for everyone personally and what their individual circumstances are. And that's really helpful for everyone, because I think, as you know yourself, and you said something earlier around having difficulty knowing whether you're doing it right or not, and whether the boundaries are right or not. And having that little Courageous Parenting group, people get in there and talk about, this exact situation happened with my daughter today. I said these words, she said these words, then she reacted like this, and now I don't know what to do. And then we all get in there being like, right, well, what's the situation, and this is what you could try. And we're really just there to help implement all the learnings so that you actually can start to see a shift in your relationship and in your daughter's confidence throughout those 8 weeks.
Nice. Yeah, a lot of support. I can feel that there's a lot of support, and the parents don't feel lost at all.
Yeah, it's good. And we're really passionate about one of the reasons that we put together the program was born out of the fact that I started Girl Shaped Flames with a really big mission statement, and that was around, as you said right in the intro, developing the strongest, most courageous, most self-assured generation of girls that this world has ever seen. And it came to my realization about a year ago, 6 months to a year ago, that that's a really big task for an individual to actually have that much impact. And I was thinking, what I really need is like an army. I need as many people on this planet as there are teenage girls, so that we can all get together and help the girls with their confidence and with their self-belief. And that was when the penny dropped, and I said, it's the parents. Parents are in this absolute position of trust and influence for their daughters, that they are the ones that really have the key to be able to help their daughters grow. And
She's freezing again. Let's wait for her to get back.
Whenever I talk for more than 60 seconds at a time, the internet just freaks out and goes, no, I just need a break.
I think the internet is trying to absorb as much as possible.
Yeah.
While it's absorbing, please stop. Let me try to connect. Let me try to digest first.
Goodness. Yeah, look, at the end of the day, I was basically just saying that I got to the bit about needing an army in order to grow this confident generation of young girls, and that army is the parents, and they are the ones who are at the epicenter of being able to positively influence their child's life. And so therefore they can, if myself and Di and Girl Shaped Flames can help support parents with the best information and the best support as we can, then that's how we're going to make this incredible impact on this generation and lift up this generation to be courageous and determined and self-assured young women. So that's why we really believe in the being able to do this Courageous Parenting program with parents.
That's a huge mission.
It is.
Huge one. And it's really, really good. A good one and huge.
Yeah.
Really, thank you for sharing so much with us today. I'll put all your links in the comment here under the live so that they will know where to find you and how to get to you, with all the links available in the chat group, not in the chat group, in the live comment.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you so much, and thank you so much for audience to watch and catching us live over here. If you have any questions, or any nuggets that you have taken away, do comment below so that Tanya know what you're looking out for and what you have taken away, what is valuable, so that you can and help more parents.
100%. Anything we can do, we are open doors to listen and to help.
Right. Okay, thank you so much. And thank you for everyone for watching us. I'll see you again soon. Have a good day ahead.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.